Hey guys, welcome back to my next art book preview video. This week we have Elsewhere, the fantasy art of Jesper Ejsing. So this is a huge book. I think there's nearly 500 pages in this one, but let's take a look at the cover front and back. You can probably tell this is a hardback. First of all, if I am pronouncing the artist name incorrectly, I do apologise to the artist. I'm just propping something underneath this page so that my lighting isn't reflecting off too much. Unfortunately, I can't get it perfect. Always tricky with big books like this, getting the lighting right. So starting with dragons, any book that starts with dragons this size, full of awesome artwork, is definitely a good book to me. I actually haven't looked through this yet. This just arrived a couple of days ago and I've been really eager to get into this one. I wanted to record a video as I look through it. I have seen someone else preview this one on camera before, and they did actually mention that one of the biggest downsides to this book was that a lot of these awesome images are double page spreads, which in a book this size, it doesn't work quite as well as a slimmer book. So like this one, for example, I feel like you'd maybe damage the book if you tried to squash that down. Coincidentally, I went past quite a few double page spreads then as well, but it does look like there's a lot that are single page, and I wouldn't let it put you off getting the book, although as mentioned, this is my first look through it too. So I have actually been after this book for absolutely ages. It feels like years, but I'm not sure if it's been as long as that. And Jesper is an artist that I follow on Instagram. To be honest, I think I found him randomly. I don't really know how I found him, but ever since this book came out, I've really wanted it. But it does have quite a hefty price tag, which, to be honest, you can kind of imagine, considering it's like 400-500 pages. Of course, it's going to be a lot of money. In fact, I would say when you consider that, it's actually not that expensive per page, or, compared to other books, it's actually a very good price. But at the end of the day, it is still a big book and it's still quite a big investment. So if you're in the UK like me, I think it works out roughly sort of 60, maybe £65 for this book. But there aren't many UK sellers of it at the moment, so it ends up costing a lot more in shipping as well. But honestly, if you like fantasy art, I think you will definitely think it's worth it. It's a really cool book already, just from what I've already flipped through and seen on camera, and from his social media posts that I've seen. So without me reading through some of the text on these pages, I am under the impression that some of this work is from like Dungeons and Dragons, but don't quote me on it. You guys will probably know better than me. And it's worth mentioning I am sort of skipping quite a few pages at a time. I'm not previewing every page on this book because it would be a very long video. And I'm sure these videos are long enough already. And if you're an artist like me, you maybe don't draw as often as you would like to, but sometimes when you do get a chance, you're not really sure what to draw. And if so, I would say a book like this, or at least in my opinion, is really inspiring if you're a fantasy artist. There's just so much in here, so many ideas, so much motivation. It's just so well executed. So it looks like he's done some work for other companies as well, like Blizzard. I didn't know that. If you guys have any information about the artist, please do leave them in a comment below, because I'm always interested in finding out more. And I know that Jesper is a big Tolkien fan. And if any of you guys have watched my videos before, you know that I am a huge Lord of the Rings nerd and a big Tolkien fan. So that's pretty cool. Some of his stuff, you can see the inspiration there. And by this point, we are less than halfway through the book, and that's with me sort of skipping a lot of pages. I didn't know before I bought this book that it was actually split into different sections. I might have to check at the end to see if there's a chapter section. I will put links, by the way, to where I actually bought this one from, because it's always good if you can get a good price on it, and I got a pretty decent price. I'd held off for years waiting for the price to drop on this one, thinking, yeah, it's worth it, but I still would like to get a good price. But to be honest, it doesn't sort of vary too much, the price on this one, from what I've seen, from watching it over a long time. So if you do want it, I wouldn't really bother trying to hold off for a specific deal, as it doesn't seem to come on to sort of many offers often or anything like that. This kind of stuff reminds me a little bit of the work of Evan Amundsen. These sort of individual characters on a white background. These are absolutely awesome, by the way, but I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to check that one out. It's definitely worth watching, another really good one. Much smaller book than this, but pretty cool. And I do love these ones that look very World of Warcraft inspired. I don't know if they're official or if they're just very similar, or whether it's me that's just getting that wrong. In fact, it says World of Warcraft there. So each bit does explain what it's from. I do have other fantasy art books, by the way, so I'll put more links in the description box below because I've just got so many books now. I'm just an art book addict. My shelves are literally bowing from all of the books that I've got, and this one is definitely going to add to that, the weight of this one. So my biggest issue with books like this is, one, like we already mentioned, it's a bit difficult. You lose a bit of information with these double page spreads. But not only that, I feel like I will damage the book easier. It's probably really hard wearing, don't get me wrong, but if you were actually squashing the pages down, I never sort of know whether it's going to affect the binding. That's probably more just me being a bit fussy though and panicking over nothing. But yeah, it always worries me compared to like a cheaper softback one. Or at least with like a lower page count one anyway. So we're on to the monsters section here. I'm not actually sure how many sections there is because I've been back to the beginning and I didn't notice like a breakdown of the chapters or anything. So there is actually a course as well on Jesper's, I think it's on his Gumroad, for some sort of traditional painting style. Unfortunately I can't remember what method of painting he uses the most, but I think he is primarily a traditional artist. I don't know whether he works digitally as well or not, but the fact that this is traditional, or a lot of it is at least traditional, to me just makes it even more impressive, to be honest. So we're getting closer to the end now. Again, I am skipping quite a few pages at a time when I say that, but overall this style of fantasy, the characters he's got here, it's not sort of sci-fi fantasy, it's more traditional fantasy. As mentioned, Tolkien, goblins, trolls, monsters, fantasy creatures. To me, this is just absolutely awesome. The content is absolutely perfect. The guy clearly knows what he's doing and is clearly an incredibly talented artist. So again, I will put links to my other videos like this in the description box below. I'll put links to where I bought this book from as well. Definitely check all that out. And aside from that, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot and means I can keep making more content like this. Let me know in the comments below what new art books you guys have got recently and what you want to see on camera next. Aside from that, hit that thumbs up button and of course switch notifications on for future content. Thanks so much for watching everyone.